Well, I thought the dolls in the dollhouse might enjoy having a spiderweb cake for Halloween. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. All right, our first step in making our cake is to create the blank that we are going to decorate around to create our Halloween cake. Since this cake is just designed to be decorated and sat up for just like a centerpiece or in a bakery or whatever, in the kitchen, Mrs. Doll maybe has just finished baking. So I'm rolling out just some original Sculpey, and I've got a pair of double thick craft sticks. I just glued these together with tacky glue and clamped them to get them as tight as I could. And we're going to cut 2 3/4 inch round, basically cake layers out of that. And this is this 3/4 inch round cutter. I think it came from Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure. You can use either a cookie cutter that you reserve for clay, or you can get, that was in a set of ones that was made specifically for clay. There's nothing special about them. They just sell them in that department. Now, put those two together and we have what will essentially be the cake portion of this. So I'm going to go bake this. I am going to bake this for 30 minutes because it's about a 1/2 inch in depth. So I need to make sure that this clay is completely cured before we go to our next step. So I'm going to bake this and cool it off to room temperature, and then I'll be back and we can start the fun part of decorating. All right, this is baked and cooled, and I went ahead and rolled this out off camera because I figured it might take me a while. I'm not sure what brand of orange clay this is. It's an orange polymer clay, and I used a couple of these, the Hobby Lobby version of skinny sticks. I think they call them slim sticks because they're even thinner than a regular craft stick. I just needed a really thin layer of orange clay because the cake that I'm kind of replicating that I saw online was actually wrapped in fondant. It wasn't an iced cake. So this is just liquid polymer clay. This happens to be the white because that's what I've got right now. And I should probably put some around it. I'm going to do this kind of like you would a real cake. I'm using this. Anytime we're putting raw clay onto anything other than raw clay, we need to use some kind of liquid clay. And I'm just trying to smooth this. And let's cut this off the table. Now, if need be, I could even slide my entire ceramic tile into the oven if I decide I can't get this up, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. And go ahead and work your clay so it's longer than the sides of the cake, because what we can do is we can use sandpaper to smooth off the bottom when it's baked. So I am going to move this to my baking surface, which is a paper plate usually, and I am going to bake this for probably 10 minutes. I'm going to turn it upside down though because I do have some liquid clay there. So I'm going to bake it for 10 minutes and allow it to cool back to room temperature. And when that's accomplished, I'll come back and we can start doing our decoration. All right, here's our cake out of the oven and it's cooled off. I've just got a piece of sandpaper here. And just kind of sand it off until you get rid of the rough area at the bottom. And it will sit nice and evenly. There. Now we are going to create the spider web that's going to be the top decoration on our cake. And for that, I'm using liquid clay. Now I experimented off camera and the white liquid clay colored just fine with my oil paint like I always do. I was a little concerned that it might come out too pale, like a gray rather than a black, but it worked just fine. So I've got a little bit of white clay there, liquid clay, and then I've got some black oil paint. Now remember, we always use oil paints to color our liquid clay, not acrylic paints, because acrylic paints have water in them and that can cause issues when you go to bake it. And I'm going to have to put a little bit more. I'm going to put it in. And I'm just mixing this on a piece of aluminum foil. That way I can throw it away when I'm done. And just a hint, before you throw it away, stick it in the oven when you're baking your project and bake that liquid clay off. That way it won't run off of the foil in the garbage and make a mess. Now we are going to, I'm going to get a fresh toothpick, hopefully a round one. I just dropped toothpicks all over my floor. Oh, there's a hole in the toothpick container. Now I've got a toothpick. I am actually going to retrieve my sandpaper, which I just had in my hand. And I'm going to make a blunt end. I don't want a pointy end. And now we're going to stick our fingers in the black. That was great. All right. Hopefully I'm somewhere near the center of my cake. Actually, let's go around the outside first. Make sure that your cake is cooled to room temperature before you start this so that it won't start curing your liquid clay before you're ready to. Well, I am going to turn the camera off. Rather than making you watch me draw these circles, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to make some circles. And when I get them drawn on here with the liquid clay, I'll come back and we'll make our spider web. All right, now that I have that drawn, I am going to bring you in just a little bit and then attempt to keep you under camera. I'm using the other end of the toothpick, the pointy end. And I'm just going to, I'm going to have to dip in. We're just drawing lines. Remember, this clay is, the liquid clay is still in a liquid state here. Maybe one more. And there we have our spiderweb cake. Oh, I missed. I'm going to put one right here too. You could use some polymer clay to make a really teeny tiny spider if you wanted to, or not. I think I'm going to leave this just the way it is. I'm going to bake it at recommended temperature for another 10 minutes, allow it to cool, and then when that is accomplished, I'll come back and we'll look at our finished cake. All right, here is our spider web cake for Halloween. It's baked and cooled. I love how this turned out. It really does remind me of the one I used for inspiration that I found online. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of themes would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up my next video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.